I know a lot of people are going to read the title instantly and think, wait, this just sounds like a stupid argument, but hear me out in this video. I want to discuss skill-based matchmaking, why it isn't a bad concept in theory, how Call of Duty atrociously just executes skill-based matchmaking, and why SBMM in Call of Duty right now is just absolutely horrible. And I want to do some comparisons to some other games. The main one I want to do is Rocket League, because Rocket League themselves have officially came out and posted brackets of each skill rank within the game themselves, and they did this themselves. This wasn't like anyone outside of Rocket League that did this. This was from an internal source of the company, and I want to compare it to Call of Duty because I think the player base and the skill base of Call of Duty mirrors very similarly to what Rocket League is. So when we do stat comparisons between different games, I'm using Rocket League as the example just because they have an official bell curve of skilled players. I've also looked back on the other commentaries that I've did on skill-based matchmaking, and then I watched two videos last night on SBMM, one from Optic Scumpy himself, and then another one from TimTheTatMans. So if I'm referencing anything from those videos, I will have those videos linked in the description below. So if you guys want to watch those full discussions on their channels, you can as well. And the reason I chose those videos to watch is because one is from an actual pro player themselves, and then another is from a casual. So the TimTheTatman review of skill-based matchmaking will relate more to us, and of course Scumpy will relate more to pro players and good players in the game. Now let's start off with what I think people will disagree with the most, and this is skill-based matchmaking, matchmaking rank, whatever acronym in the game you play uses, why it's really good in theory. It keeps the game competitive yet fun, lets the best play against the best. So those pro players, like in the Scumpy video, he said he doesn't just want to play against like the worst players in the game for easy content. While it would be good for easy gameplay and recording, he doesn't want to play against incompetent players that can't keep up with him because he still wants a competitive challenge. It lets the worst not get stomped on by those pro players. So those players that are new to the game and that are learning the mechanics, they're not facing Optic Scump in their first open lobbies and just figuring out that this game isn't for them. And I don't know how companies figured this out, but apparently the gaming companies that use SBMM have higher player retentions than just non-skill-based matchmaking games. I don't know how that's a thing because from what I've experienced, when SBMM hits really hard, I just decide to turn off my game. Compared to if a game's casual, I personally, with my playstyle, I play longer in casual games rather than just playing longer in SBMM games. Unless it's like a game like Rocket League, but I will only play Rocket League for like an hour in ranked mode. And that's pretty much the only ranked game I play right now, which is also why I chose the Rocket League bell curve that we'll talk about in a little bit here. But skill-based matchmaking in concept isn't the worst thing ever. It makes sense. However, there's so many games out there that implement skill-based matchmaking into their game in such a bad, discouraging way for players. A huge example is Call of Duty Cold War and Modern Warfare. SBMM in those games are extremely high for just how the game functions itself, which causes problems because casual players who aren't trying to grind Damascus or aren't trying to grind Dark Matter, they're just going to be put into lobbies with sweats consistently. And I'm not talking like the super sweats that are jumping corners, but for their skill level, they will be playing against the sweatier players. Now, of course, there is plenty of problems with skill-based matchmaking in a lot of games, and we're going to focus on Call of Duty. First things first, as I said, it's super excessive in Cold War and Modern Warfare 2019. Skill-based matchmaking is unforgiving, and even in the casual playlists, like if you're not playing League play or like a ranked mode, it still feels like you are even in the casual games. So as I said at the beginning of the video, let's look at some of these charts. So on screen, you are going to see a Rocket League rank chart. The farther the left you are, the worse at the game you are, and the farther right you are, the better you are. And of course, the taller towers or bigger bars mean that there's more percentage of players. I thought I would just describe that because I showed these in my Discord last night and there was a little bit of confusion. But as you can see from just a general viewpoint at these graphs, that majority of the players in the game are around that average skill level in Rocket League. And I would assume it's the exact same with Call of Duty. If you look at the horrible players who are just the absolute worst of the game, there's not that many of them. And it's the same thing with the really, really, really good players in the game. There's not that many top skill level, like top tier pro players. The majority is just in the average, in the middle. There's some that are above average, and there's a decent amount of above average players, but there's also just a bunch of below average players as well. And now I'm going to show how skill-based matchmaking works in Rocket League ranked mode. So this is specifically in the ranked mode of the game. The green bar is going to be your skill-based matchmaking bracket, assuming you are the middle of that bracket. As you can tell, you're only going to be playing one skill level up or one skill level down in ranked. And with how Rocket League works, it usually tries to put you with your mid-tier skill level, but if it has to because of connections or because of just queue people or queue times, you might play people a tier up from you or a tier down from you. But this is how skill-based matchmaking works in the ranked Rocket League mode, which means it is obviously going to be competitive. In the casual mode, you still play around the same skill-based matchmaking as your ranked, but it's not as strict. And the only reason it works in Rocket League is because Rocket League is such a technical game compared to Call of Duty that it would be kind of weird if you had a gold player who can make plays in the air play someone in bronze. So even in casual, you deviate from 2 to 3 ranks from your central one rather than the 1 or 2 ranks higher or lower than in the competitive game mode. Now, here is the crazy thing. You know how this ranked SBMM bracket is for Rocket League? This is exactly what the Call of Duty skill-based matchmaking bracket looks like for casual. And that is a huge issue. You shouldn't have a casual playlist have a skill-based matchmaking bracket that is super similar to what a ranked bracket looks like in a highly competitive game. Now, a lot of you could be saying, well, I don't think so because I'm facing level 1000s and level 500s in my lobby and I'm only level 70. So obviously in the casual playlists, I'm getting put in SBMM with way better players. And keep in mind, level doesn't mean that they're more skilled. If someone has a level 500 and you're only level 20, that genuinely means that they've just played the game longer than you have. They could be twice as bad as you, but have played twice as long as you, and that's why their level is so high. And you have to remember, in Cold War, zombies is also a factor and people can level up in zombies, so it doesn't actually show their skill level. Now, I'm going to show a graph on screen of what casual skill-based matchmaking should be like for Call of Duty. The blue represents your skill-based matchmaking bracket and what it should look like in Call of Duty. If you were an average player, you can see right away that you still, with this huge bracket of players you can matchmake with, you still will not be able to play against the absolute best players of the game and the absolute worst players of the game. If you are dead center average on the tallest bar, odds are you're going to be playing people around the same skill level as you because the highest percentage of players is that same skill level as you. But let's say, what if you're above average on the downslope of the curve? Well, you're still going to be playing a lot of people in your same skill level. But this time you are now going to have the majority of players that are worse than you. But still, even if you are an above average player, you now have to deal with possibly getting in lobbies with the absolute best players in the game, which means that you are going to still get slapped on and the lobbies will balance themselves out with casual skill-based matchmaking. Keep in mind, these graphs with the blue outlines, that means that this is just how it should be. The green showed how it actually was in Rocket League ranked and in Call of Duty casual. This is what Call of Duty casual should look like. And for those that are saying, oh, well, you just want to play the worst players in the game. Well, let's put, for example, what if we were the worst players of the game? If you can just tell based on how the 2 previous charts are, if you are brand new to the game and really bad, you will be playing the average skilled players. So the just below average or average players are going to be the majority of players you come across in your game, and that will teach you to become a better player because you will learn how to combat the average players, win gunfights against them, and then soon you're on your way to being an average player in the first place. And then as you get better at the game, you will progress and then fall under wherever you will in the bell curve. And based off of these charts, we can already tell that there's a huge issue with skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty. What it should be is strong skill-based matchmaking in dedicated ranked or leagued play playlist, because that's where people go to play competitively. And then in casual, you should have low skill-based matchmaking strength. I think that's just, it makes sense. In a casual playlist, you should not be forced to play against your same skill bracket the entire time, because that's not what casual playlists are for. And the stupid thing is you now have to, because skill-based matchmaking is so strong within Call of Duty, find ways to get around it, whether that's reverse boosting, session joining, playing large player-based game modes like 12v12 and Ground War, where the higher player counts in those games actually force skill-based matchmaking to broaden a little bit, or you can literally just play the game until you are good enough to be ahead of your skill-based matchmaking bracket. And that's pretty much what I've done in Cold War. I've played the game so much since launch that I have actually not noticed skill-based matchmaking that much. But I know there's tons of people that actually just get slaughtered by skill-based matchmaking, and there's a tons of factors on whether you will notice skill-based matchmaking or not. If you are an all-round good player, you will not notice skill-based matchmaking. If you play casually and you don't really care about your stats, you won't notice it. It's when you actually play the game long enough where you do notice it, because you will recognize you literally get punished for doing well in the game. So if you have a really good game where you go like 80 and 20, the next game you're going to be playing against a lot of other players that just went 80 and 20 in their previous game. So by doing good in your previous game, you are punished. So if you want to do good in Call of Duty, you have to do bad in your previous game, which is where the reverse boosting comes in, because people will purposely just have an absolutely horrible game where they will get like 1 or 2 kills and like hundreds of deaths. Like, people literally do that, and that will reward them. So it's so backwards with how SBMM works in Call of Duty and then just in other games in general. It makes sense for ranked. Trust me, I get it. In ranked, you get rewarded with your rank for being good, so you are constantly trying to do better, so your rank gets better and better because it's bragging rights, and it just makes you better at the game. But for casual playlists, it should not hurt the player to do good. It's just really stupid that that is a thing. And the way SBMM should work, regardless of what game you're in, if you have SBMM in your game, right away you should have a casual mode and a ranked mode. In Rocket League, it's super literal. You have a casual playlist and a ranked playlist. In CSGO, you have casual, you have ranked. Rainbow Six, casual and ranked. The thing with Call of Duty is we eventually get a ranked mode, but for the longest time with Cold War, we had strong SBMM only in casual playlists. We did not have a ranked. So if you launch a game with strong SBMM or SBMM at all, you should have a casual and ranked mode. And of course, the ranked mode should have strong SBMM that actually keeps you playing the same skilled player, so your rank actually means something and the ranking system works the way it should. And then in the casual playlists, you should have a broad and expanded skill-based matchmaking bracket where you're playing players that are better than you and you are playing players that are worse than you, because that would be the best casual experience. And I've said this in past videos, and a lot of people seem to disagree or call me out for only wanting to play bot players. And a huge example of this is my Why Warzone Isn't Fun Anymore, where I talk about SBMM being just too crazy. I understand that in a battle royale game you need SBMM, but I constantly don't want to have to be sweating the entire time in Call of Duty in general. If I'm in a casual playlist, I should be able to sit down, relax, and enjoy the game. A huge example that Optic Scump used was when SBMM happens in casual playlists, as a pro player, he doesn't want to play against the player who plays maybe once or twice a week when they drink a beer and get home from work. And that is coming from a player in the professional league. If you have a professional player in your game saying that skill-based matchmaking is too strong when their whole literal career was playing against these same skilled players as them until they got to the top, you have a major issue. The only analogy I can think to that to make a real world comparison is, let's think about the NFL. And in this hypothetical, we're going to put money, privilege, and all of those factors that go into professional athletes to the side. We're going to look strictly on skill. Let's say for football in the United States of America, you are only allowed to play against people your same skill level consistently. Now, if you're trying to make the NFL and you're not a very good football player, you are never going to get the chance to improve because you are only going to be able to play against players your same skill level. You will never get the test to challenge yourself and to improve your skill, at least at a accelerated rate. Sure, because you're playing against players your same skill level, you may slightly become better and better over time, but you won't get the extreme challenge that a lot of NFL players have when they're young, where they're playing players twice their size and twice their skill level, and that teaches them to be better overall. And that would be like an NFL player complaining and saying that it's wrong. The fact, like, it blows my mind that Optic Scump, one of the best Call of Duty players in Call of Duty history, is complaining about it. And even TimTheTatMans brought up Scump and said something along the lines of, if one of the best players in Call of Duty is getting punished by casual skill-based matchmaking so that they don't have a good kill-death ratio, there is an issue there. Optic Scump, whether you guys like it or not, is one of the best players the game has ever seen. Whether you agree with how CDL is run, whether you like him or hate him, he is one of the best. And his kill death ratio in previous Call of Duties is like 5, 6, 7 on average. But with the high skill-based matchmaking of Cold War, his KD ratio was something ridiculous, like 1.7. Like, it's the skill-based matchmaking is that strong, and that's where the issue is. So how do you fix it? You just literally change the skill-based matchmaking algorithm to be extremely weak in casual game modes, just enough where the best players of the game won't play the worst players of the game. And as long as you have that happen, you have a perfect casual game mode, and then you can tailor the ranked skill-based matchmaking to however you see fit in your ranked mode. And that is literally how you fix it. I don't understand with whoever at Activision, whether it's Activision themselves or the development studios, whoever planned the skill-based matchmaking, I don't understand why they made it the way it is, other than supposedly it increases player retention, even though every person I know that plays Cold War plays it less because SBMM makes the game unfun for them. I don't know where that statistic came from within these companies, but they have said it themselves that skill-based matchmaking increases player retention, but I see it the complete opposite. I could be completely wrong, but I think quality of life in the game is way more important than player retention, because if the quality of life of the game is high, the player retention is also going to be high, and you won't have to literally punish players for performing well in casual game modes. And with all of that being said, and looking at literal stats of competitive game modes, why is the title SBMM isn't bad, you are? It's because I do think that SBMM is good in theory, and it gets a extremely bad rep because of games like Call of Duty. If you had skill-based matchmaking that was a lot more lenient in a casual game mode in COD, I don't think skill-based matchmaking would be a problem at all. I think right now, skill-based matchmaking is definitely hurting the player base and hurting the players. And if I'm going to be completely honest, from experience in Cold War firsthand, if you hate SBMM, usually, and this is going to sting, and I don't mean for this to take offense, I'm not trying to offend anyone, this is just how I learned from personal experience, you aren't as good at the game as you think you are. And the only reason I know this is because at Cold War, I thought I was an incredible Call of Duty player. I was grinding DM Ultra. I was doing okay in games, but I was never doing the skill that I am now. Like, I was never performing at the skill level that I am now. I was consistently in the skill-based matchmaking trap where I just couldn't excel at the game. and it took me forever to get good at Cold War enough to where skill-based matchmaking doesn't affect me, which is why I think a lot of the weaker players skill-wise are going to dislike skill-based matchmaking more, because they are not going to be able to improve in the game and get better because they're constantly going to get punished, which goes back to the things that were wrong with skill-based matchmaking. But personally, in my opinion, skill-based matchmaking, good in theory, executed horribly in Call of Duty. There are some good examples of other games like Rocket League that executes it perfectly. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy, dislike if you didn't. There's no hard feelings. I look forward to reading some of the discussions in the comment section. I feel like we're going to have a lot of angry gamers who just disagree with a lot of SBMM in the first place, and they're going to get mad that the title says skill-based matchmaking isn't bad, you are. So we're going to have those guys, obviously, but I genuinely think we will have some good constructive conversations down below on skill-based matchmaking, because there's going to be people with different viewpoints and opinions. Anyway, subscribe for more videos in the future. Social media links in the description below, including the Discord. I'm about to head out, and if there is one, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.